We'll take a look at TikTok.
We're looking at TikTok. We may be banning TikTok.
We're not doing anything with TikTok.
Joe Biden is responsible for banning TikTok.
Reached an all-time
Well, there's
high.
a clue. It was a long, before I ever got here, it was at an all-time. This didn't, remember, I've been here for 3 weeks. And
Breaking news. Trump's brain might be breaking. No, really. Experts are throwing around words like psychotic and cognitive decline, but don't take our word for it. Let's play a game called Stable Genius or Totally Bonkers. We'll look at Trump's recent antics and you decide. Warning: side effects may include laughter, concern, and a sudden urge to check your own sanity. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you appreciate this content, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch the videos without subscribing. It costs you nothing, but it makes a huge difference to us. So, did you click the subscribe button? Great.
When you look at USAID, that's a fraud. The whole thing is a fraud. Is only looking at Trump, yet Joe Biden took massive amounts more documents.
He who saves his country violates no law. Donald Trump keeps on posting that statement over and over again, which is attributed to Napoleon.
Thank you so much. Now, back to the video. Alright folks, buckle up for another wild ride through Trump's wacky world. While most presidents would be rushing to help during a disaster, our boy Donnie had other plans. Picture this: Kentucky's underwater, people are swimming for their lives, and where's Trump? Vrooming around at NASCAR like a kid with a new Hot Wheels set. But wait, it gets better. While Kentuckians were building arcs, Trump decided to play race car driver at the Daytona 500. And because he's such a humble guy, he made sure to make a grand entrance with Air Force One and a fancy motorcade. Nothing says, "I care about the little people," like delaying a race and burning through millions of taxpayer dollars, right? Now, you might be thinking,
I have a wonderful wife who has to listen to this stuff all the time. They do that for this reason.
Inflation, the same way you know the spark that causes a fire, when you add $8 trillion.
surely he had a good reason for skipping out on Kentucky? Well, unless you count quoting Napoleon as a presidential duty, I've got nothing for you. Maybe he thought the French emperor had some tips on how to invade Russia in winter. Spoiler alert, it didn't work out so well the first time. But hold on to your MAGA hats, because Trump's not done yet. While Europe's having a collective meltdown over Ukraine, our stable genius has cooked up a peace plan that's got everyone sweating bullets. And by peace plan, we mean let's give Putin whatever he wants and call it a day. It's like watching a toddler try to solve a Rubik's Cube. Cute, but ultimately disastrous. European leaders are so spooked they're holding emergency slumber parties to figure out how to deal with Trump's latest brain fart. They're probably sitting around in their pajamas, eating croissants, and wondering if they can just pretend the US doesn't exist for a while.
As European leaders are now holding an emergency summit led by the French President Macron, as well as UK's Prime Minister Keir Starmer.
Those people in North Carolina, those are incredible people. Those are incredible patriots.
You want freedom? Take pride in your country.
But here's the kicker. Some European bigwig actually said, "We will not repeat Angela Merkel's disastrous attitude toward Trump." Translation: we know he's nuts, but we gotta work with him anyway. It's like dealing with that one relative at Thanksgiving who insists the moon landing was faked. You smile, nod, and hope they don't set the house on fire. Meanwhile, Ukrainians are eyeing Trump's peace plan the way you'd look at a ticking time bomb. They're worried it might force them to make nice with Russia, which is about as appealing as a root canal performed by a drunk dentist. Ever wondered how to turn a country's economy into a dumpster fire? Well, folks, our boy Donnie's got a plan that'll make your wallet weep and your grandkids curse your name. Trump's cooking up an economic recipe that could turn the national debt into Mount Everest, and it's about as solid as a chocolate teapot in the Sahara. Let's dive into Trump's latest economic brainwave, shall we?
And prices could go up somewhat short term, but prices will also go down. And I think the farmers are going to be helped by this very much.
And so what was Donald Trump doing over the weekend as well? Well, as Kentucky, Virginia, and West Virginia suffered devastating storms, over 10 people were killed.
Picture this: a $4.5 trillion tax cut that'll have billionaires doing the cha-cha while the rest of us scramble for loose change in our couch cushions. It's like Robin Hood in reverse. Steal from the poor, give to the rich, and hope nobody notices the country's piggy bank is emptier than Trump's promises. But wait, there's more! Trump's not content with just adding a measly $8 trillion to the national debt during his last rodeo. No sir, he's aiming higher this time. How high, you ask? Try $25 trillion over the next decade. That's right, folks. Trump's playing Who Wants to Be a Trillionaire with our country's future. Now, you might be thinking, surely there's a brilliant explanation for all this, right? Well, hold on to your MAGA hats, because Trump's got all the economic know-how of a toddler playing Monopoly.
Reached an all-time
Well,
high.
there's a clue. I mean, it was a long, before I ever got here, it was at an all-time. This didn't, remember, I've been here for 3 weeks. And
I said, well, I'm going to do it whether the women like it or not. I'm going to protect them. I'm going to protect them from migrants coming in.
When asked about skyrocketing egg prices, our very stable genius claimed he'd only been president for 3 weeks. Apparently, time flies when you're busy making America broke again. But let's not forget the real victims here: Medicaid and education. Trump's budget proposal includes slashing $880 billion from Medicaid and taking a hefty chunk out of education funding. It's like he's playing whack-a-mole with essential services, and American families are the moles. And just when you thought it couldn't get any worse, Trump's previous economic shenanigans are coming back to haunt us. Remember that pesky little thing called inflation? Turns out, experts reckon Trump's earlier policies, which added $8 trillion to the national debt, played a starring role in our current inflation crisis. It's like he left us a time bomb, and now it's going off in our faces.
they're just hurting themselves that they did that. I can't imagine it, but it doesn't matter. We're having reciprocal tariffs. Whatever they charge, we charge. Very simple.
We'll take a look at TikTok.
We're looking at TikTok. We may be banning TikTok.
We're not doing anything with TikTok.
Joe Biden is responsible for banning TikTok.
Well, folks, it looks like the world's getting ready for another round of Trump's wild ride. While some countries are rubbing their hands with glee, others are reaching for the Pepto-Bismol. India's over there doing a happy dance, thinking they might score some sweet trade deals. But hold your horses, India. Our orange friends got a protectionist streak that might just rain on your parade. Meanwhile, Europe's playing it cool, trying to figure out if they should high-five Trump or give him the cold shoulder. Some leaders are all, let's make it work, while others are worried Trump might treat NATO like one of his failed casinos. And let's not forget about those of us watching from home. If you're not thrilled about Trump's potential comeback tour, you've got options. Time to dust off those protest signs and get your Democratic groove on.